2 years ago, I spent 45 minutes deciding what to wear to buy groceries because I was convinced the cashier would judge my outfit. I rehearsed conversations in my head for hours before making simple phone calls. I changed my opinions mid-sentence based on people's facial expressions. I was a prisoner of other people's thoughts I couldn't even know for certain they were having. But here's what changed everything. I discovered that caring what people think isn't actually about other people at all. It's about you. And once I understood that, I developed 4 strategies that completely freed me from this mental prison. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to break free from the exhausting cycle of seeking approval and start living life on your own terms. So stick around, because what I'm about to share will change how you show up in the world forever. Here's the truth nobody talks about. When you're worried about what people think, you're not actually worried about their thoughts. You're worried about what their thoughts mean about you. Let me explain. When I was obsessing over that cashier's potential judgment, I wasn't really concerned about her inner monologue. I was terrified that if she judged me negatively, it would prove I wasn't good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. The fear of judgment is actually fear of rejection, and fear of rejection is really fear of not belonging. And fear of not belonging comes from one core belief. I'm not enough as I am. That's why positive thinking doesn't work. You can tell yourself, I don't care what people think all day long, but if you secretly believe you need other people's approval to be valuable, you'll keep seeking it. I realized I had been trying to solve the wrong problem. Instead of trying to stop caring what people think, I needed to stop needing their approval to feel worthy. Completely different challenge. Once I understood this, everything changed. Because you can't control what people think, but you can control whether their thoughts have power over your self-worth. The first strategy is understanding how wrong you are about how much people actually think about you. There's a psychological phenomenon called the spotlight effect. We believe we're constantly under a spotlight, with everyone watching and judging our every move. But here's the reality. Most people are way too busy thinking about themselves to spend much time thinking about you. I learned this the hard way during what I call the coffee shop incident. I spilled coffee all over myself in a crowded cafe. I was mortified, convinced everyone was staring and judging. I wanted to disappear, but then something interesting happened. I forced myself to look around the room. Half the people hadn't even noticed. The ones who did see it had already gone back to their conversations, their phones, their own problems. That's when it hit me. Everyone else is the main character in their own story. They're not sitting around analyzing your outfit, your words, or your awkward moments. They're thinking about their own insecurities, their own problems, their own lives. So I started an experiment. For 1 week, I paid attention to how much mental energy I spent thinking about other people's appearance, words, or behavior. The result? Almost zero. I was too busy with my own stuff. This was liberating. If I barely think about other people's mistakes or awkward moments, why would they spend time thinking about mine? The truth is, you're not that important to other people. And that's actually fantastic news. The second strategy is doing the math on approval seeking and realizing it's literally impossible to win. Here's what I discovered. There are roughly 8 billion people on this planet. Even if you could somehow get 7.9 billion of them to like you, you'd still have 100 million people who don't. Are you going to let those 100 million ruin your day? But it gets worse. The people you're trying to impress, they're all different. What impresses your boss might annoy your friends. What makes your parents proud might make your peers roll their eyes. What your neighbor thinks is cool might make your partner cringe. I realized I was trying to be all things to all people, which meant I was nothing to anyone, including myself. So I did something radical. I made a list of the 5 people whose opinions actually mattered to me. Just 5 people whose respect I genuinely valued because I respected them. Then I asked myself, do these 5 people love and accept me even when I mess up? If the answer was yes, then I had all the approval I actually needed. Everyone else's opinion became irrelevant noise. This cut through so much mental clutter. Instead of trying to manage the opinions of hundreds of people, I focused on being someone those 5 people could be proud of, and someone I could be proud of. The math became simple. 5 people who really know me and love me anyway, versus hundreds of people whose opinions don't actually impact my life. Easy choice. The third strategy is completely changing how you process criticism and negative judgment. I used to think criticism was a verdict on my worth as a human being. Someone didn't like my idea, I must be stupid. Someone thought I was awkward, I must be fundamentally flawed. But then I learned something that changed everything. Criticism is information, not condemnation. When someone judges you negatively, they're telling you more about themselves than about you. Their criticism reveals their values, their insecurities, their preferences, their fears. It's like a window into their inner world, not a mirror of your worth. Let me give you an example. Someone once told me I was too intense in meetings. Old me would have spent weeks trying to be less intense, dimming my natural energy to avoid future criticism. New me asked different questions. What does too intense mean to this person? Maybe they prefer low-energy environments. Maybe my enthusiasm makes them feel insecure about their own engagement level. Maybe they're uncomfortable with passion in general. None of that has anything to do with whether my intensity is good or bad. It just means we're different people with different styles. Here's the powerful reframe. When someone judges you, they're not revealing your flaws. They're revealing their preferences. And their preferences don't have to become your prison. Some people will think you're too loud. Others will think you're too quiet. Some will say you're too serious. Others will say you're not serious enough. You literally cannot win the preference game. So stop playing it. Instead, ask yourself, am I being true to who I am? Am I treating people with respect? Am I contributing positively to the world? If yes, then other people's preferences are their business, not yours. The fourth and most powerful strategy is understanding that authenticity is actually more attractive than perfection. I spent years trying to be the perfect version of what I thought people wanted. I was agreeable, polite, and completely forgettable. I had no rough edges, no strong opinions, no distinctive personality. And you know what? Nobody really connected with me. Then I started an experiment. What if I just showed up as myself? What if I shared my real opinions, told my real stories, showed my real personality, flaws and all? The results shocked me. Yes, some people didn't like the real me, but the people who did like me, they really liked me. They connected with my authenticity in a way they never connected with my people-pleasing persona. I realized something profound. When you try to be perfect, you're completely replaceable. There are millions of other polite, agreeable, vanilla people out there, but there's only one you. Your quirks, your perspectives, your unique way of seeing the world, that's not something to hide. That's your competitive advantage in building real relationships. Think about the people you're drawn to. Are they the ones who never have strong opinions and always say what you want to hear? Or are they the ones with distinct personalities, interesting perspectives, and the courage to be themselves? Authenticity is magnetic because it's rare. In a world full of people trying to be what they think others want, someone who's genuinely themselves stands out. Here's what happened when I embraced this. I lost some shallow connections, but I gained deep ones. I stopped attracting people who wanted me to be someone else and started attracting people who appreciated who I actually was. The fear of judgment didn't disappear overnight, but it became irrelevant because I'd rather be disliked for who I am than liked for who I'm pretending to be. So, where am I now? That same coffee shop scenario plays out completely differently. I wear what makes me comfortable. If I spill coffee, I clean it up and move on. If someone seems unfriendly, I assume they're having a tough day rather than making it about me. I speak up in meetings when I have something valuable to add. I share my real opinions instead of saying what I think people want to hear. I pursue goals that matter to me, even if other people don't understand them. The mental energy I used to waste on managing other people's opinions, I now spend it on creating things I'm proud of, building relationships that matter, and becoming the person I want to be. Here's the beautiful paradox. The less you need people's approval, the more they tend to respect you. When you stop being desperate for validation, you become more confident. When you stop trying to impress everyone, you become genuinely impressive to the right people. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to make everyone happy. You don't have to shrink yourself to fit into other people's comfort zones. You just have to be courageously, unapologetically yourself. And trust me, that's enough. In fact, it's everything. The prison door was never locked. You've always had the key to walk out. The question is, are you ready to use it? If this video helped you see that, hit that like button and subscribe for more content on living life on your own terms. And let me know in the comments, what's one thing you're going to stop caring about other people's opinions on? Thanks for watching. And remember, the world doesn't need another copy of someone else. It needs the first copy of you.